Not a bad way to start, right? As you've guessed, the cassette community update. It's another batch of metal cassettes, this time 28. And this is part 1 of part 2, because there's another 28 on the shelf behind me that I'm going to share with you guys over the next couple of days. Starting right off with King Diamond's The Eye. This, for me, was one of King's most... I know them and Abigail are awesome, and they're great, but The Eye, I thought, was every bit as good. This was a favorite for me in high school. I had this in my jacket, again, much like others I've said in the past for a while. It was just a mainstay in the Walkman. I think King just really found some kind of just slower but melodic groove here. This is from 1990. So this would have been 8th grade, freshman year, 8th grade, 9th grade. Great tape. Some more King that showed up for the collection. Finally, here's a copy of Them on cassette. Them is epic. I would love to find a copy of Them on vinyl. Little wear on the print here. No matter, just happy to have it in the collection. Pretty decent fold out for the time in 1988. It's only when inserts were really starting to get to bigger proportions at this time. Such a great album. Such a great album. And honestly, to still be missing that on vinyl, you know, it just doesn't show up often enough. And the last time I saw it, I think it was $35, and I mean, it was just like hairline to heck. It was not worth it. Here's Motorhead's Rock and Roll, mid-80s release from Motorhead. Still an absolutely fantastic album. What's the stellar one? Oh, Dogs and Eat the Rich. Just two epic Motorhead songs. Fantastic find. And I know there's another one from Motorhead. Maybe it's somewhere here in the pile. Here's another one from the Maiden collection. Here's a Real Dead one. I remember when these came out and how disappointing the sound quality of the recordings was. I mean, especially when you're doing apples to oranges against what was the live standard at the time, Live After Death. Maiden just didn't have 6 live albums out at that point. The reason I really like this one, though, is because it's a cross-section of older songs from the first few albums, whereas a real live one focused on later stuff. Still a great listen. Plug in one of the last holes up in the Megadeth collection. Here's Hidden Treasures. Some great soundtrack songs. Again, I mean, you know me and Megadeth. You can do no wrong. 99 Ways to Die. That dominated Headbangers Ball. Their cut of Paranoid. What else? No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's another one that was all over Headbangers Ball. And watching the Megadeth documentaries now, Dave could barely keep his head up when filming that video. He was just so blitzed out of it on drugs. Absolutely great stuff. And Angry Again is on this as well, from Last Action Hero, and one of Megadeth's best songs ever. It's another one that showed up, Creator, Endless Pain. I remember this one from middle school. This is 1985. I think maybe 7th grade was my first exposure to this, and this may have just sown the seeds for not an over-the-top love of thrash, I mean real proper thrash, but definitely the seeds for liking it and getting acquainted with it. Endless Pain's a great listen. It's another Sabotage. This is Gutter Ballet. This is the 4th or 5th Sabotage that's turned up recently. This and Hall the Mountain King were the two that I was most familiar with. Being able to find some of the later ones and even one of the earlier ones was really cool. Great stuff. Let's haul Abigail. I've just been waiting and wishing and hoping and loving and praying for Abigail to turn up. You can't get better than Abigail. I mean, there it is in all its glory. I've just been sitting and waiting for this to show up. Abigail is absolutely excellent. Speaking of King Diamond, here's Melissa from Merciful Fate. What's there to be said that hasn't already been said about Melissa? I mean, really, it's just this laid the foundation, where it all started. I have the anniversary reissue of this on CD. What an epic package, but this is just a phenomenal tape. And here is Dead Again. I actually have never heard this. I was really excited to pick this up. Clear cassette. Hope you don't mind taking a quick look at the inserts. I figure I may as well make it worth it. Kind of give you a glimpse of what they look like. If you're thinking of picking up a copy for yourself, or just to make the video slightly more interesting. Alright, so I had shown you in the last video that Death's Leprosy and Human had popped up. And if you're following these videos, you know I'm not a major death metal fan, but there is some stuff that I'll grab from the period where I tried to get into death metal and it just really never worked. But there are still a few favorites. And on the back of that Here's Scream Bloody Gore. I cannot believe Scream Bloody Gore showed up on cassette. I haven't seen this one since middle school. And the one that was my gateway to death was Spiritual Healing, which showed up right behind it. I remember drawing the artwork from this on the cover of my math book. We used grocery bags to cover our books, which I'm sure many kids with like absolutely zero budget like I did. And this is one that whether or not I ever really got into death metal, and the answer is I didn't. Spiritual Healing will always hold a place because it's the one that I played to try to get into. So nice way to round out the death collection with Leprosy, Human, Scream Bloody Gore, and Spiritual Healing. Absolutely great stuff. Here's the other Motorhead I was telling you about. Here's Overkill. Very simple insert on this one, just a black J card. But this, what's my favorite song here? Metropolis. What a great tune. The version of that on their live album is just unbelievable. Here's one I've never seen before, Razor, Malicious Intent. So this is just one of those blind buy metal. It's on a black cassette, which is pretty cool. This is from 1986. And the reason for the black cassette is it's a Canadian press, and this is just straight up thrash, and they're a Canadian thrash band. Really good stuff. Here's Glenn Danzig, Block Aria. I remember getting this one in high school, black cassette, although it is a US press. And what intrigued me was Glenn's note inside that this is not a rock record and it's not like anything I've ever written. This was probably my first proper exposure to, call it classical score or symphonic music. Deep, dark, instrumental, and it plays like something out of a Tim Burton or a Rob Zombie movie if you had to score it, but darker. An absolutely epic album, and definitely one to go seek out. Moody, melodic, just unreal. Here's a little Christian metal from the mid-'80s. This is Saint with Time's End. These guys definitely rock a lot harder than Striker. This is, I guess it's 86, I can't see the date right in front of me. It's on Pure Metal, and I had never seen this before. I just thought it would be a great grab. And it's, the song titles didn't make it sound like it would be like, oh no, Petra or whatever. Testament, Souls of Black. I had Practice What You Preach, I had The Ritual, I believe I have Low. For Souls of Black to turn up was excellent. Probably the most muddy production of anything they've ever produced. But still, Souls of Black, just an epic song, and one you cannot do without. Great find. Here's one I actually reached out for a hand from Greeno on. This is called Easy O. Produced by Gene Simmons, and this is, and I talked to Greeno and kind of said, have you heard of him, should I grab this? And he's like, you know, do you like loudness? And he knows I do, so right away then grab it. So, a Japanese band, produced by Gene Simmons, fantastic stuff. I've listened to side 1 so far, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And I mean, if you have comments on any of these, I mean, just stuff that was meaningful to you or nostalgic or you love, or if I say I haven't heard it, where to start, let me know. Use those comments, that's what they're for, let's talk. These two taped together in the same bin. Here we go. I know there's been 6 or 7 Halloween releases that I've grabbed recently, but here's Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1 and Part 2. And right on the back of me asking Zappa 21786 Craig if he would part with Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. Sorry, Eli. What shows up? This. And of course, at the end of the day, I was like, Craig, don't worry about it. I'm just kidding with you. You can have it. I'm just being selfish. But those two showing up was just awesome. Here's one I had never seen or heard of. This is Incubus, and it's Beyond the Unknown. Not the Incubus you're thinking of. This is Incubus on Nuclear Blast. Just unreal. Absolutely unreal. Such fantastic stuff. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Incubus, I can kind of live without Incubus, but it's not that Incubus. Different Incubus. An excellent cover. There's, 6 more here. Here's Carnivore Retaliation. This is another middle school, early high school favorite. This starts off with Jack Daniels and Pizza, which is, if you're familiar with it, it's a thrash metal band. Was kind of the coughing and drinking intro. My parents could not stand that. They were like, will you just stop rewinding that? Which fueled the fire and made me want to listen to it more, but we were all teenagers at one point. Lizzie Borden, Menace to Society. Excellent Lizzie Borden album. Pretty simple insert, but again, purposes of showing it to you. I always like the little artwork here on the inside cover. Such great stuff. Such great stuff. Let's polish this off, and part 2's coming up. Here they are. Ready? Dio's, Strange Highways. One that I was missing from the Dio collection, which leaves me missing as far as cassette releases go. Probably only one, but I'll give you a hint. It's really not missing. It's in the second update. I did find it, and it was last in line. Here's Strange Highways, which I thought was great. This I was shocked to see. And this is Sodom, Agent Orange. Absolutely excellent thrash metal. Sodom's such a great band. I was hip to them at the time, and I was really happy to have been, but I never for the life of me thought I would see the cassette again for the rest of my life. And that's part of what this is all about. This is what was in the jacket. Here's one from Diamond Head, Behold the Beginning. It's a later Diamond Head compilation, and there is an absolutely stellar front cover, first of all. And inside, just a stunning write-up in very small print by none other than Lars Ulrich of Metallica, about what Diamond Head meant to them, how they decided to cover it. Am I Evil is on here, as well as The Prince, which Metallica covered. And two from Accept, I'm a Rebel and Midnight Highway. And you just can't go wrong, even with their just old yellowed white cassettes. Early Accept is just really just great stuff, and you can't get over it. So, man, that's the 28 that take up this update. I had to get them out there and share them with you guys. 28 more coming tomorrow night, and I guess it's going to be a slow and steady drip there forward. So, long live the cassette community, and I'll catch you guys soon. Take care.